Alright, so in the past few weeks, we've seen a majority of the tech industry analyzing and debating the camera performance on the newest OnePlus 9 flagship phones. OnePlus has really made a big deal out of its Hasselblad partnership, and so far it's been pretty interesting to see the results. On the other hand, I have spent the last couple of weeks here at Team BRY with the most affordable OnePlus device. The Nord N100 comes at below $200, and for this price you get some neat features like a 5000 mAh battery, a 6.5-inch screen, stereo speakers, and 4 cameras. Now, the marketing that OnePlus has created for this phone does make a big deal out of its triple camera setup, which features a 13-megapixel main camera and a couple of 2-megapixel depth and macro sensors. It's the kind of setup that we've seen in a lot of entry-level phones. Now, while a camera setup like this sounds impressive, we still have to ask, are cameras on a budget smartphone even that good? So we went around and took some sample shots to show you guys how the Nord N100 works when it comes to camera performance. I'm just gonna show you some samples, and as a disclaimer, we did follow social distancing and health guidelines. Let's get started. Alright, so let's start with some outdoor shots. As with a lot of smartphones, the camera on the Nord N100 performs the best when you have great lighting conditions. Taking photos around town was pretty effortless, and under the right conditions, you can get some good dynamic range, as well as detail and color in your shots. We did enable HDR, and I should note that this tends to increase saturation when taking photos. Check out some of these shots. Moving on, we also took some photos with the Nord N100's portrait mode. In general, you can get some good looking shots, and edge detection on subjects is mostly on point. But performance tends to vary when outdoors. Under an overcast sky, there were instances when exposure was blown up, resulting in some pretty underwhelming shots. The macro lens isn't anything to write home about, and I usually ended up with shots that had a sort of yellow hue to them. Speaking of portrait mode, we took a few selfies on the front camera of the Nord N100. I have to mention that you'll need some patience with the front shooter on here. It does have its moments, but as I mentioned several times earlier, lighting conditions play a big part in how your photos will turn out. There were times when exposure was too high, forcing you to lose out on dynamic range, and video doesn't fare any better. It doesn't hide the fact that you are shooting clips on a budget smartphone. Right, so since we've been talking about video, we should probably move on to how the main camera setup performs when it comes to taking video. Now, one thing that I'm really particular when it comes to smartphone videos is the level of image stabilization. Now, according to OnePlus, the Nord N100 features electronic image stabilization, and maybe I'm mistaken in thinking that this is supposed to improve stability when shooting videos, but so far all the videos I've shot on this phone come out shaky. You are not gonna get some flagship level video clips on the Nord N100, so you might want to use a tripod when taking video with this phone. Colors are average, and given the phone's low price tag, I'm not really surprised. So far, the theme of this video seems to be to stick with outdoors and daytime shots, and this really looks to be the case. You're gonna have to be mindful if you want to get good indoor shots with the Nord N100. Light sources such as windows and powerful lighting setups will come in handy. On the other hand, the phone has some limitations when it comes to night shots. There's no nightscape or night side modes here, and it really shows. Alright, so to make a long story short, the Nord N100's camera setup will be ideal in outdoor and daytime situations. Trips to the beach or park, and maybe even social events in a well-lit indoor setting shouldn't be much of a problem for this phone, but keep in mind the limitations that you'll have to face in darker or overcast environments. As for video, you can probably fix up shaky clips with the help of the stabilization feature in the Google Photos app. But you do have to keep in mind that this is first and foremost a budget smartphone, so you may want to keep your expectations in check. Guys, if you want to see more videos, check out Team BRY here on YouTube, and once again, thanks for watching.